Hi, welcome back to the Jac and Glen channel. I'm Jackie.
And I'm her husband, Glenn.
Yep, he is.
Hey, before we get started, make sure you hit the subscribe button. Make sure you hit that bell notification so you don't miss any of our reviews. We're talking about Ready to Love tonight. Ready to Love. Episode 6, Second Shot at Love. Second Shot at Love. And the men are in charge. And the men are in charge. So that means some lady is going home tonight.
Or ladies.
Or ladies, yeah.
Because last time they sent 2 guys home.
Last time they sent 2 guys home.
Okay, so of course, as usual, we start with Tommy meeting the fellas at the Gentleman's Lounge. He called it the modern day man cave.
Yep.
And surprisingly, I was surprised he said this. He said the good news is that they're halfway through the process. I think it was halfway time already. That was fast.
Yeah, it's halfway time already. I mean, you figure 6 guys left. There's 6 guys left. Men went home, so it's 6. And if you didn't bring in Shawn last week, it was down to 5. So, hey, they halfway home. They try to roll this. This Ready to Love ain't stretching things out. They are rolling. I mean, it's halfway. 6 guys. You only get to keep 3 couples, so I understand why he went halfway.
Yeah, and so he said this week he wants them to keep an open mind and don't focus on their MVP. And of course, we always see them do this during the season. You know, look at your number 2, or if you don't have a number 2, check out somebody that you haven't tried before.
Yeah, haven't tried or interested in, or that you might be interested in, but they're a little bit lower on your list, and you may want to take them out and see how things fly.
Yeah, someone who deserves a second shot. And Tommy says they're sending 1 lady home this week, at the end of the week. So, so first off, we see Walter. Walter actually asks Zadia out.
Yeah.
And they meet up at the nail bed and bar.
Nadia getting them toes done.
Zadia.
Yeah. I said Nadia. I'm so bad. I'm thinking about my Zadia. So I mean Zadia gets her toes, getting her nails and toes done, and. You know, and I think Zadia's a pretty young lady, and good to see. I mean, when we get to the end, everybody likes Zadia, but nonetheless, Walter wanted a shot at Zadia.
Yeah. Zadia says the way she feels about Walter is he's a smooth talker, he's handsome, but somebody you got to tread lightly with. So she's like, you know, kind of got him in that place. And so...
Before we get there, Walter talks about and explains why Zadia is like his number 2 or on his list, somebody new, because he said he's really feeling Sabrina. He's really feeling Sabrina from the time they connected and how they got together. So Sabrina is Walter's number 1. So.
And so they talk about, okay, what's the purpose of you looking, you know, for somebody, being ready to love? And he was like, you know, the purpose is family. You know, I want to establish traditions. You know, like family cookouts and camping trips. And Zadia said, we do. You know, my family does family. I think it was a camping trip.
Yeah.
And he was like, oh, okay. You know, he says he was raised by 4 women. That's his grandma, his mom, his sister, what he was raised with. So not with, but this is who was in his household. his grandma, because you can't be raised with your grandma. Your grandma, his grandma, his mom, his sister, and his cousin. And he talked about how much of an influence they were on him. And, you know, the question is, okay, so, like, if you're such this good catch or whatever, like she said, you know, you come across as a smooth talker or whatever.
And she also brought the point up too. You could be raised by all these women and still be a dog.
Right.
Or raised by all these women.
And that's what I was about to say. Yeah. And so he said one time in particular when he was dating his wife, who we know passed away. He said that before. When he was dating his wife, he had a good friend of his say, "Hey, man, that's a good woman.
Yeah.
Stop tripping. You know what you waiting on." And so, you know, he was like, maybe I should get focused or whatever. And at this point, Walter, you definitely should be focused. You're getting up there, bro.
He had a lot of time. You got to remember, when he said that too, he was like 19 years old. So he was a young man, and he was going through things. So he said, you know, after his wife passed away, he went back to that 19-year-old Walter where he just was out there. You know, he was just out there looking for love in all the wrong places, basically. But now he's kind of settled down, and he wants to do his grown man thing.
Yeah, and Zadia said she was liking this side of Walter. She hadn't seen this before. It puts him in a different light. And the other funny thing with them is, okay, it's time for her to pick a toenail polish out. And he was like, I don't know, pick so-and-so color. They were like, no. For summertime toes, you do white toes because they help you get chose.
Yeah.
White toes, you get chose.
Never heard that before. He ain't hear it neither. And probably will never, ever, 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 ever hear that again.
And his question was, so in that case, are you trying to choose me? I just want to know, am I going to get chose? Okay. You trying to choose me? And she was like, I might be. But they had a nice little interaction. Yeah. I liked it. I was like, okay.
Yeah, it was a nice conversation. Nice little date. You know, he was getting his feet done. He wasn't scared to get his feet did.
Well, his feet didn't look bad either.
No.
They didn't look bad. I think she was pleasantly surprised, like, oh, okay, look at your feet.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know why people have the assumption that men have bad feet. Men go get their feet done.
Because a lot of men do have bad feet. But it's women that have bad feet, too. Yeah. You know, if they're dancers or whatever, you know.
Not even necessarily dancers. Just some people who just don't take care of their feet.
Well, it ain't not necessarily just take care of them. I mean, some people just don't have cute feet.
Okay.
Yeah. But anyway, so from Walter, speaking of Walter, his number one, Sabrina, we see Sabrina go out with Shawn.
I like Shawn.
I do too.
Shawn ain't playing around.
So far, I like Shawn. Yes.
Shawn ain't playing around, and we'll get into it a little bit more. But go ahead, you can go ahead with the. I'm gonna tell you why I really like Shawn.
Shawn's thing is, you know, I'm coming in late in the game, so I gotta make some connections pretty fast. Yeah. I gotta make connections fast, and so he was like, you know, she caught his eye at the pool, and he was like, you know. Let me see what this is about. So he said, you know, he's glad to have a little one-on-one time with her. And Sabrina teaches him how to say beautiful in Korean. Yeah. And I forgot what else.
He did better than I was trying at home.
Yeah, I forgot.
I was trying, y'all. Y'all could see, I just couldn't.
And thank you. It was beautiful and thank you. Yeah. And was talking to him about how to use the chopsticks, and I was like, okay.
But yeah, he was using them though. He was trying to show her because he had them down pat. I think I have chopsticks down just a little bit. You taught me. You showed me. You know, but I don't know. I got them a little bit.
I just would rather just pick it up.
I'd rather use my natural chopsticks, my natural hands.
But they had. While they were there, they had a lot of fun with each other, you know, a lot of laughs and stuff, and they talked about the fact that Sabrina was like, you know, in this, do you feel like you're getting a true woman? Because a lot of times she said, I feel like when you meet people, you meet their representatives, and it's not till later when you see how they actually are. And he says, you know, I'm making a lot of connections, but the question is, are they love connections? And Sabrina shares with him, you know, that she's got a daughter who's going to be 9 soon. And
she asked him, do you want kids?
Right.
And you know, and he asked her, does she want any more kids? And we know with Shawn, that's been his big thing, that he wants to have kids. He wants to have kids, and he was kind of straightforward with, like, basically, this is why I mentioned earlier why I like Shawn. He was straightforward and honest. He didn't beat around the bush. He wasn't like, you know what, I don't want to have kids. He asked the right questions. I don't want to be in this to lead somebody on. I think he asked something like, what happens in a couple months with us? And something of that nature. What happens in a couple months? And he wanted to know, look, if I really put all me into you, what happens?
Well, his first thing was, because he said in the last few years, he's just been going with the flow in the relationships, and he hasn't made that bone of contention. It's like, you know, I want kids, but, you know, it's just like I might have been with a woman that didn't want kids, and so I just went with the flow. And he was like, I don't have time for that no more. No. I'm going to say what I want, and that's what it's going to be. And so he said, again, you know, I don't want it to start off one way, and then 3 months later, it's like, wait, it's something else. I'm not trying to waste nobody's time, and I don't want nobody wasting my time.
Yeah. I mean, I like that, because let's be honest, you don't want to get in this relationship and, you know, come to find out, oh, dang, I've been here, I put all this time in, and she don't want kids, and she don't even like kids, and she go marry somebody else, Jenny Mai. But I'm just throwing that out there.
Right. He said he likes her a lot. And so, but he's feeling everybody out. Yeah. Because he wants to make a definitive decision. And he says, you know, the right woman could change. It's possible the right woman could change his viewpoint. Yeah. You know, maybe he might not want kids, or, you know, may change his mind. I don't know. But he said, I definitely want another date. So I want another date. They had a nice little date. I enjoyed them too.
Yeah, it was a nice little date with them. They had a lot of laughter and giggling and goofy. She said, Sabrina said, he makes me laugh and I feel goofy. And we had a lot of goofiness around him.
Yeah, and she said she could tell by the end of the date, like, he had started to open up some more.
Yeah. She had him. He had her scared for a minute. She was like, "Hold up, I ain't feeling this." I was like, "Who this dude? Who do you think you are?" But no. But she opened up, and the laughter eased things. So.
So next we see Aisha and Phil go out.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Oh no, I was gonna say Phil is smooth. Everybody likes Phil.
Yeah.
Everybody likes Phil.
He seems like a nice guy.
Phil is winning the hearts of a lot of ladies.
And
Aisha said she was looking forward to going out with Phil.
Yeah, we found out that
she was looking forward to going out with Phil.
Yeah, she said he's pleasantly surprised her. We know at one point the first deliberation with the women, Aisha wasn't there. She had a car issue. She had an accident. And she said Phil had been checking on her. Yeah. You know, since then, and they trying to feel each other out. You know, they said they've been talking to each other quite a bit, and sharing some intimate details of their lives with each other. But in this space, she felt comfortable enough to share something that she hadn't shared on the phone. Right. But first, I want to say. He was like, "Oh, I got lobster. We're gonna have lobster, whatever." And he was like, "Do you cook?" She was like, "Oh yeah, I'll cook. What's your favorite thing to cook?" "Lobster." "Okay." And she says, "For me, I take care of my." She's like, "My kids don't eat off paper plates." I'm like, not never, sis.
Not never.
Not on the cookout days.
Not ever.
Like when you gotta cook, not the birthday parties.
No, she like real plates. I mean.
For the birthday parties, you can eat off this paper.
Somebody doing the dishes.
Right.
Somebody doing the dishes. So she got the good stuff. All right.
Yeah. So since she brings up kids, you know, they talk about what is it that you want to ask me? And he was like, "Okay, I want to ask about kids. I know you got kids already." And so that's when she kind of broke down, and she was like, "I'm going to share something with him that I haven't shared with anybody." And what she basically said was, her answer is always, when it comes to kids, I don't want to have any more kids, because it's more hurtful for her to give the actual answer. And if you just tell somebody, I don't want to have any more kids, it kind of gets them off your back. Yeah. And you don't have to explain. But what she explained was that she's scared to try to have kids again.
Yeah, she doesn't hold them.
Yeah, she said I don't hold well. Okay, because so she said she actually almost lost her children twice, and then she also lost a baby. Yeah. So she said, I don't want to feel like a failure. You know, if I get pregnant in another relationship, if I can't sustain the pregnancy. And
when she said about relationship, she said marriage. Because she said that's no option. It's like, in marriage, I want to be able to provide this for my husband, and I can't. And I'm scared. What if I can't really, as you mentioned, be successful in this? What if I can't complete it? I will feel like a total failure. And we know, like I said, we've shared with you guys on many videos about having miscarriages. It affects both parties. It affects the man and it affects the woman. It definitely affects the woman. Mentally, emotionally, physically, all those. And again, if you had it multiple times that you lost children, or you have times where you had complicated pregnancies, it makes you think twice about getting pregnant again. It does. It makes you think twice about getting pregnant or having more children. So I can understand where she's coming from. And she really broke down. And
she did.
She broke down.
He was very confident to her. He consoled her, and she appreciated that. She said he was happy that she shared it, and I think she felt like a weight was lifted off for her when she shared too.
She did, and if you check out her Instagram, she said she even cried for a few more days after that, trying to get herself to together and release it, and she shared it basically with the world. It wasn't. She shared the information in her issue with the world, and I think she probably has helped a lot of people.
Oh yeah. Yeah, so again, Aisha and Phil had a nice little date. And she was like, in these spaces, it's like, you know, how could she not fall for him?
Yeah.
In moments like that. So everybody's having good dates so far.
Oh, but everybody won't have a good date.
Yeah, because the next one,
yeah.
not so much. We see Camille and Naim go out.
Well, for what we saw, it wasn't a good date because there's some other information out there about their date from their Instagrams, but we'll talk about what we saw and I'll share that information.
But I'm still going to say it wasn't a good date because they might have had a good time, but it wasn't a good date because basically, you know, her thing is, I know what I want.
Mm-hmm.
I know I've like decided, and I'm not for wasting my time.
And you
basically,
you ain't it, Naim. You ain't the guy. you ain't the man, as Camille say. You're not the guy. You know, but on the Instagram, when I go there, he said they talked about a lot of different things. They had good communication. It wasn't always about what we're going to talk about here, about the money and the kids and all this other stuff. That they really talked about her dissertation, her, you know, talking about Malcolm X and Martin Luther King. They just had a good conversation. But we know the power of editing. She believed that they're trying to make her look one way. I don't think they're trying to make her look one way. I believe she is who she is.
Yeah, but I mean,
and she's showing what she's showing.
Yeah, but I get what she's saying if she said they're trying to make me look one way because you keep focusing on that part of my conversation. If they had all those other conversations, they probably figured that's boring. Ain't nobody gonna care. So, yeah, I believe it. But Naim's thing is initially from the first day, he felt like Camille wasn't that approachable anyway.
Yeah.
And from her side, she was like, you know, and looking at Naim or just period, like, again, I know what I want. This not what I want. No. She said me and Naim could be really good friends. Mm-hmm. And she said they actually talk pretty regularly, but they don't talk about kids. And so he says he's focused on the woman first. And then the kids, because you know, she asked him, "Do you want kids?"
Right.
And he was like, "My thing is, I'm not. Well, how many kids do you want?" He was like, "Well, let me say this first. First, I would like to get the woman. Then I'll cross the kids bridge when I get to it."
Yeah, but she already has a kid, so
right.
And so she already has a kid, and so he will be coming into this relationship knowing that she has a kid, because that was funny too, because he would call him Mr. Nye. Yeah,
because she said my son is everything. And so, you know, what would your role be in his life? And he was like, I'm not trying to be his daddy. I'm not trying to take his daddy's place. You know, I like to be a role model or whatever. He can call me Mr. So-and-so or he can call me Mr. Nye. She was like, he'll call you Mr. Nye.
And I have a problem with that.
Why?
I'm going to tell you why I have a problem with that. If this man is in your life and we're ready to love it, he gets to the point where you guys are married, I'm not telling him to call the young man to call him dad, right? Mm-hmm. Whatever the case, but I do expect him to be respectful because you want... The way she came off, the way she sounded was, this is my child, I don't want you to do anything with him. You know, he can call you Mr. Nye. To me, that's how it came off. That it's like, okay, you're going to deal with me and not really deal with him. Mm-hmm. But she has to realize they're a package. It's a package deal. When you come into this relationship, he's going to have to deal with your son some type of way because you're setting yourself up recipe for behavior. I mean, you're setting up yourself for a bad recipe. So what if I don't even want to call names. What if her son misbehaves? What if her son is disrespect? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, don't say little Johnny.
Yeah, I can say that. Somebody got Johnny out there, whatever. But you know what? Son misbehaves. How does Mr. Nye respond to him? How does Mr. Nye correct him? And I'm not talking about spanking. I'm just talking about in correction in general. Do you want Mr. Nye to say anything to your son? Or do you want Mr. Nye to let him go on? You know, so...
My issue with it is, anyway, so and I'm not saying this from a personal experience. Let me just say that. But when I think about it, it's like when you have a child before you get married and then you come into a relationship and say you marry somebody else. To me, it's kind of impersonal. Not that they would call him dad, but Mr. Nye makes it sound like, oh, that's just my mom's husband.
Yeah.
When he really should be a little bit more. You know, he should be, I know a lot of people's like this. They don't have stepchildren. They don't have stepfathers stepfathers or stepmothers. They have bonus.
Yeah.
You know, so it should be a bonus dad. Mr. Nye don't sound like a bonus dad. Mr. Nye sounds like
your neighbor.
My mama's husband.
Or boyfriend.
Or boyfriend. And he gets on my nerves.
Yeah, I mean, to me that rubbed me the wrong way. If you a guy trying to get into a relationship with her, you know, he'll call you Mr. Nye. You know, like this is what he's gonna call you, and you're gonna like what he calls you, because he ain't gonna call you anything else. And this is what I'm gonna tell him to call you. You know, she seems to me like she's really, I won't say bougie, straightforward. I'm gonna use that one, but high maintenance, full of herself.
Okay.
I don't know her personally, so I'm just saying.
Yeah. But the next question she asked him was about finances. Okay, let's talk about finances. And he was like, I mean, what about finances? Like I work and you would just shop? Like, what you mean about finances? Like, what we gonna do with it? And she was like, how much do you make though? Is it over 6 figures?
See,
He like, I'm not getting ready to answer that.
I have a problem with her again. Every guy she dates or she goes out with, she asking him what's their credit score, how much money do you make? Do you want somebody to pay your student loans? Just ask them.
Yeah.
Just tell you know what, I need somebody to take care of my. I got all these student loans because I got this master's degree, I got this degree, that degree, and guess what? I need somebody to help me to take care of the student loans. Baby, you got them on your own. I'm just saying. She asking everybody their credit score. So what? What if he? Again, I mentioned this in the other video. What if he has a low credit score, but he has no debt? The credit score doesn't mean that he'll be. Doesn't mean he's not handling his business. He may not borrow any money. He may pay for stuff in cash. Why? Everybody puts so much value in on a credit score. Oh, so
that's another video because the teaching has to be done about. That's a whole
that's a whole
video.
different. You putting this on. Do you make 6 figures? I mean, okay. What if he didn't make 6 figures? Is that a no go?
But he said for him that was a red flag.
Yeah, it's a red flag.
He said when a woman brings up money abruptly, finances abruptly, that's a red flag.
For most men, if we on a date, first, second, third, maybe fourth date, and you bring up money, is a red flag. It's a no for most guys. It's totally. What you asking me how much money I made? I don't even know your middle name yet. You asking my dollars? What do you want? What are you, a goat? I'm not. Anyway, the whole different video. I might just do that myself. Sorry.
He asked her, you know, how do you show interest in somebody? And so her response was, well, if I'm not interested, you know, I'll just ignore a text. Like, you won't get no response from me. That's how you know that I'm not interested.
She just started ghosting folks.
And on the side, Naim basically called her crazy. And he says, I'm looking for somebody a little more centered and grounded. She just don't seem like she right there. But I think she also kind of put on that air, I'm telling you.
She might
that might have been a little bit of you know, truthfulness. But I think the other part was, I'm not trying to get you interested because I'm not interested. Because I only have eyes for Cornelius.
Yeah. That's all she asked. Man, it's going to bite her in the butt.
Oh, no.
It's going to bite her.
I don't know. So far, it looks like it's working out.
It's going to... Eventually gonna bite in the butt.
So then we see a little mini group date.
Yeah.
With Frank, Mumin, Dante, and Sabrina. And they go to this place called Swingers. And it's mini golf. Yeah. They go to play mini golf. And Sabrina's like she's connecting with Dante. And she's actually showing them up when it comes to the mini golf. You know, she getting holes in one, and I mean, on a celebration and the extra. And Dante was like, I like it though. She's having a good time. And he was giving her some pointers on, you know, how to play. But she was like, you know, I got it. But Sabrina and Dante kind of split off from Frank and Mumin. And he said, she said, I've been waiting on this for a while. Yeah, I'm waiting on this for a while. And he was like, okay, me too.
He wanted to talk to Dante. And they had a good conversation. I mean, it was deep because they brought up kids. She brought up her daughter. And he brought up his 3 kids. And how he has 3 kids with 3 different baby moms.
Well, she actually brought it up. Yeah. Because, again... You know, they talk to each other, so this is, again, some proof that I'm letting you know that I've been listening.
Yeah.
And, so she shared, you know, her daughter and the fact that her daughter's dad hasn't really been present there. And she didn't say this, but I know, with her dad not being present, I have to be cognizant of men I bring in the picture. And that basically she does need a male example. Her dad's not there.
Yeah.
But I'm not trying to make you that necessarily. But yeah, so she points out the facts. She's like, oh, you got 3 kids, right? You got, is 2 girls and a boy. He was like, yeah, 2 girls and a boy. 3 different mamas.
3 different mamas.
And,
Bruh.
And so he was like, but I got really good relationships with them for the most part. It's not an issue.
Nah, he said, I don't do drama.
Right.
You're not doing drama. Everybody's good. Everybody's cool. I mean, basically he was telling her, if we get together, you won't have any issues.
Right.
You won't have any. Look, you won't have any problems. Ain't nobody gonna call you in the middle of the night. Ain't nobody gonna shoot down. We're gonna be good. We're gonna be fine. We'll be okay. So he wanted to that was his way of reassuring her that everything is fine. You're not getting in something where you have to fight every day or mess with phone calls and text messages. We're good. I handle my business.
Yeah. But they really enjoyed each other's company, and he actually called her Trouble, and she was like, "Oh, I'm Trouble." But I'm good Trouble though.
Yeah.
Cause his thing is, his number. He actually has 2 number ones, I guess. He said he's connected the most with Shiloh and Zadia.
Mm-hmm.
But he's feeling more connected with Sabrina. Particularly after this date.
She's coming up.
Mm-hmm.
She's coming up a little bit.
So we see Frank and Mumin doing their own thing over there. Funny part, I don't know what they were eating, but he was like, "You want a lady in and tramp it?" And I promise you, I don't know how much she bit off of it, but he got the majority of it.
He got the whole of it. He got the majority of it.
It looked like a boneless wing or something. Like he got most of it.
It looked like a cinnamon, like there was cinnamon bites or.
It was something.
It was something.
But yeah, but he said he's had his eye on her. She's had her eye on him for a while.
Yeah.
And she said, "I like his vibe. I like the way he dresses. He seems like the kind of guy like he leads, and I'm willing to follow him.
Yeah,
he looks like he'll be in charge.
She's looking for a leader.
Coming
from the church background, like she wants somebody to lead her. He wants somebody to lead. So she looking, and Frank seems like that well put together guy who got his stuff together, and so she's really feeling Frank.
The one thing that I would like them to get into more detail about. They had a conversation about when he was growing up. It was a lot of foods that he didn't eat growing up.
Yeah.
And he said, she said, "Was that a cultural thing?" And he was like, "Yeah." And she said, "Same thing with me." So I was curious to know what all that meant.
What their background, whether whether they how they grew up, with a Haitian, Nigerian, whatever case may be, their cultural background, when they grew up, didn't eat certain things, but then they get into a heavy conversation, heavy question, and Frank basically said, tell me about this not having sex before.
Well, so what led up to that is. He was like, tell me about your values.
Yeah.
What's your values? And he was like, I value family. Family is everything to me. And speaking of family, because families come from that act, let me ask you something.
Yeah.
I know you shared that you're not having sex before marriage. And basically he was like, is that a hard stop?
But he also asked, like, you've been there before though, right?
Right.
Because he wanted to make sure she wasn't a virgin.
Right.
In lack of a better term. He didn't like, oh, you're a virgin? No, he wanted to make sure that she has, been physical before.
Yeah.
That she'd been down that road before. And she's like, yeah, I've been there before, but I choose now to be celibate. I choose now to wait until marriage. So he ain't pull an Iris. We want to make sure she wasn't Iris for Married at First Sight.
Right. Yeah. She said, I've made this decision, not to put the cart before the horse.
Right.
Because sometimes, that gets in the way and messes stuff up. And his thing is, I'm a very hypersexual person. I kind of gathered that from his, the way he was shaking that. When he was shaking that cocktail up. He was like, I just want to be upfront with you that I'm a hypersexual person. Yeah. I'm not trying to wait to get married. I understand that's what you're doing, but he in his vignette he said he's never had to wait before. Yeah, like that's not something he did. But he said I may be willing to try that path with her, if we hit it off that way.
That has to be something. Again, we saw with Jason and Liz. That's gonna have to be something that he has to be able to commit to, not just because it's her value, but it has to become his value as well. Because when it's not your value and you're doing it for your partner, it's not going to work out.
Right.
You have to make it your value as well. And so if him and Mumin get together and she becomes his number one and they ride off into the sunset, that has to become his value.
Yeah. So that was it with Frank and Mumin.
Yeah.
Then we see Shawn again. He said, "I'm late in the game, so I'm feeling several avenues."
Shawn is hitting him up.
Several avenues. So Shawn goes out with Tacia. I was glad to see her go out on a date with somebody.
Yeah. I think Tacia has a lot of connections. I think, they're not showing Tacia because remember she was at the bottom at one point. She got saved by somebody, right? She didn't go home because there's somebody who feel like they have a connection with her. And then even when it came up to the other elimination of women, she wasn't at the bottom. So that means somebody's feeling Tacia. So, she's having it, and we know she's a little plus size, but it's okay. It's people like that.
Not a little plus size.
Some people like that.
What's a little plus size? Just plus size.
Plus size, sorry.
She's fluffy.
Well, I ain't calling her fluffy.
She's fluffy.
Yeah.
She's fluffy.
Yeah, we like fluffy.
Oh, yeah. I'm fluffy.
I know. That's why I said I like fluffy.
You said we like fluffy.
Oh, I like fluffy. I like fluffy.
Anyway. So Shawn goes out with Tacia. And he's like, finally, I'm get to go out with her. Because he was like, I feel like she's pretty.
She's pretty.
And she got this little country twang with her, liking that.
And we couldn't find Mississippi roots.
Yeah, she said she hasn't had too much time with him, so she's excited about this too. So yeah, like you said, she said both of her parents are from Mississippi. So she's a Southern girl by way of Chicago.
There's nobody on this show that I believe that, and I might be wrong, that was born and raised in D.C. Ain't none of them.
Walter, that was the only one.
I think maybe Walter, but they're not true Washingtonians. You don't see no slouch socks. You don't see no go-go. I mean, I'm just saying.
Man, Junkyard Band.
You ain't hear no go-go conversation. I don't know.
We missing that concert right now.
Yeah, lot of those cats. I mean, like I said, they're in DC by way of. But anyway.
Right. But anyway, so she said she's a Southern girl by way of Chicago, and she's got really traditional values. And so they kind of had that conversation when you say traditional values, when it comes to religion. She was like, people always ask me, are you spiritual or are you religious? And she said, I'm both. I'm both spiritual and religious. And he was like, that's something that I need, and I need to get into the practice of more. Yeah. And so he shared that he grew up Black Baptist.
Black Baptist, not Southern Baptist, not any other. He grew up Black Baptist.
No, I mean it's Southern Baptist because he talks about Macon, Georgia, but I said Black Baptist.
Yeah, you know what Black Baptist is. They got the church fans in the church. You got the old wooden building.
I just grew up Baptist. I just happen to be black. I ain't grow up black.
Preacher preaches for 3 hours.
But now my daddy did not. He did not. He did not. But I do know something that church would be that long. They ain't preached that long.
The church was 3 hours.
But he
the
said,
old mother with a wig, her Sunday wig.
Don't talk about my grandma.
I'm sorry. See, she said it, not me.
I never knew my grandmother had hair for real. Because I always seen a wig, and then when I saw her with hair, I was like, why is she wearing a wig? Because she got hair. Anyway, yeah, so he said, he grew up in a little Baptist church in Macon, Georgia. Yeah. And he liked the fact that they kind of synced up on that point, on that level. And so he said, I'm open to kids, like I want to have kids. And she was like, good, because my clock is ticking too. I want to have kids too. And when she said that, I was like, yes.
Shawn's like with ding.
I know, I was like, yes. Somebody that's not past wanting kids, because that's what he wants. And he wouldn't have to compromise. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. She got childbearing hips and everything.
She does. She does.
So she said her clock is ticking, and her mama's is too.
Mm-hmm.
And so,
Mama with the grandbabies.
Yeah, she said.
Kids she can take to Sunday school with her.
Yeah, she said she sees a lot of positives with Shawn, but the one thing they did, she had to put out there is, you know, you're older than me. We're like from 2 different generations. Yeah. Is that an issue? And he was like,
Not if it's not.
Not if it's not an issue with you. Yeah. It works for me.
It works for you.
So, and that makes it even better for him to be having kids.
Having kids.
Because, you know, men be like 80 still able to produce kids. Women don't always have it like that.
You ever have to see a kid graduate and he in the walker? With a walker?
Yes.
Real gray hair?
Okay, say that. Yeah, don't
Oh, yeah, I want to walk. With gray hair. With real gray hair. On his face because he already bald-headed, so anyway.
Yeah, but he said he's open to that. He don't have a problem.
No problem.
All right, next we see, which I thought this was kind of like a cheat. We see Cornelius go out with Courtney. I feel like that was a cheat.
It wasn't a cheat. That was his number 2, though.
Right.
Or his number, his beneath of him, or not beneath, but his number 2.
Yeah, but he's been out with her before.
No, but that was a group date, though. And he really was out with Camille. But Courtney was involved, or Courtney really liked Cornelius, but they never really had the time to spend together without Camille being around.
That's true, but still, yeah.
Yeah.
And he says, he still wants to get to know her. And what she does was they meet at a rum tasting spot. And I was like, I don't know. I don't know how this is gonna work. Yeah. I felt like she probably drinks more rum than he does. Yeah. It might be a waste. But anyway, she's most connected with him, and she's a little bit younger than him. Yeah. But so his concern is, do you feel like you've gotten all that youngster out of you? You're partying, you ready to settle down. You finished with dating, the dating life and everything. And she said, yeah, she is. And she said, I actually typically date older men. I go for older men, so that's not a concern for me. But in them talking, which we know about Cornelius, he said his foundation is faith. Yeah. His foundation is faith. And so are you good with chilling a little bit? I know we had this talk about you being, very sexual. Are you willing to chill with that? Because I'm not, trying to do the premarital sex thing. And, she was like,
She wasn't feeling that.
He said that's a red flag for him.
It's a red flag for him. But you know what? Has he ever asked Camille that question?
If she could wait. But no, I mean, they're on the same page with that. So.
I think they're on the same page. But
yeah, they definitely are.
I don't think she ever really answered. But Courtney, she can't. I mean, I'm not going to say she can't. She doesn't want to. She already made that known to him when they were out with Walter. This is what I like. This is what I want to do. I want to know what I'm getting into. I want to have the sexual relationship before we get to, and I think it's okay. And she says, I think it's okay with me and my God. So I'm good. So that's what she said. She said she was good.
And I think that's why he brought it up, because that's a conviction that he has. Yeah. So basically, like you mentioned, Jason and Liz, he's wanting to know, are you going to try to sway me? Or are you going to try to swing my way when it comes to that?
And I want to know. She tried to sway him because she even still putting her hand on his inside his thigh again and rubbing his leg again. Yeah. Do thou tempt me, thou Satan. Remember that from Martin?
Thou temptest me, Satan.
Man, David Allen Greer, man. Check that Martin out. That was
he has got really great.
Reverend Lonnie Love.
Yes. She said that it would be hard for her. Yeah. Basically, you shouldn't be looking so good and smelling so good.
But is it hard, or she's not willing to try?
It's probably a little bit of both. Yeah. It's probably a little bit of both. I think she probably would be willing to try, but in her mind, she's like, I know this ain't gonna last long.
But like I said, it's not her truth. It's not her value. This is not what she wants to put on. So it'll be just like, I'm not trying to be biased, but it would just be like Jason again. If this is not your value to keep yourself until you get married, regardless of what your partner wants, it's gonna be hard for you until you make it something that you want to do. Mm-hmm. And I'm not gonna say for a man, it's gonna be hard, or a woman gonna be hard. It's gonna be equally hard for both parties. Mm-hmm. So again, if it's not something that you committed to doing, it's not gonna last, whether you male or female.
Right. And she asked him, how do you feel about dating a boss? You know, because I'm a boss. Can you handle that? And he was like, yeah, I can handle that. Ain't no problem. But in the end, Cornelius settled on the fact that he said, I need a woman of a certain conviction, certain level of conviction that I'm just not seeing from her. Mm-hmm. So they're not clicking on that level, religious or spiritual level, or just keeping yourself. So after this, we see Tommy meet back up with the guys at the Gentleman's Lounge, the modern day man cave. And so, of course, he wants to know who you feeling, who you not feeling. And so Walter says, now I see why everybody's feeling Zadia. I had a nice little date with her. She's cool. She's quick-witted. And I enjoyed my date, but I still got a connection with Sabrina.
Yeah.
But, I really enjoyed my time with Zadia. Phil talks about how he had a date with Aisha. Mm-hmm. And what I like, which I didn't expect him to do otherwise, but I like that he said, she shared some things with me and he didn't go into it.
That's what I mean.
Yes.
Like
I said, I didn't expect he would.
Nah.
But yeah.
That's something that they share privately, which happened to be cameras around. They should watch it. But again,
the cameras see it when they see it.
They see it when they see it.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So he says Aisha's moved up, but Shiloh is still at the top for him.
Which we didn't see much of in this episode.
Right. Probably because she's a lot of people's number one, so I can't go out with them.
Yeah, can't go with them.
Shawn says he's feeling Tacia. Mm-hmm. He's feeling Tacia. He says she's very attractive, and he knows women like her.
Yeah.
Those are the type of women he's usually, deals with. So that's right in the vein for him. But he said he also got a chance to go out with Sabrina. He likes her. She's got this regal and royal appearance. And the only thing with that is Shawn said, I still want kids. So whoever I deal with, has to want kids too. So that's his issue with Sabrina. Dante brings up Sabrina. He said she's moving up his list. Is surprisingly, the vibe that they had. And, Walter was kind of like, okay. And in his vignette, he said, I can't be in my feelings about other guys feeling her because that's what the show is about. But at the same time,
I like that.
He said I was physically uncomfortable.
But I like that because everybody understands he understands the show. You got some people who don't understand the show and they get mad, Camille, and get upset because somebody's feeling the person you're feeling. They're supposed to be feeling the person you're feeling. Mm-hmm. Because again, that's the point of the show.
Yeah. Yeah. But Dante also mentioned that he's still feeling Shiloh the most, and Zadia, he spent he wants a little one-on-one time with her, some more one-on-one time with her. And Frank said, he was feeling Mumin. He said, he appreciates her hustle. Yeah. And he actually said, I appreciate her faith. And kind of on Courtney's, I appreciate her faith, but that don't mean I'm necessarily gonna.
Think with it, but I appreciate it.
Okay, who are they not feeling? Cornelius said, you know what? I'm actually not feeling Courtney.
Not a surprise.
He said he was surprised at her actions. He could still see a little bit of party girl with her. And he don't really see any potential there, again, to do something more, for it to be more.
He's not trying to get caught up in the sexual sin. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
He didn't say it, but that's what it is.
Right.
He's not feeling it because she's not trying to go the same way he's trying to go. So he's not trying to go there. So guess what? If you're not going the same way I'm going, let's cut ties now. And as for all you religious folks out there, church folks, let's not be unequally yoked.
Right. Frank says he's not feeling Courtney. Walter also says he's not feeling Courtney, and he's actually not feeling Aisha. Mm-hmm. For Dante, he's not feeling Tacia. He said, I'm getting friend vibes from her. Phil is not feeling Sabrina. He said he hasn't really had a real connection with her. Had a chance to, feel that out. Naim says, I'm not feeling Camille. it's a lack of compatibility there. You know, she asked about money, asking me if I make 6 figures. Like, yeah, no. Shawn said he's not feeling Camille.
I wanted to show the brother's reaction when he said that. Pan in the room.
Yeah, Shawn's not feeling Camille, and neither is Dante. And Cornelius said, you know, what hurts him the most is these guys are not feeling the person that I am. And it's possible that based on what they say, you know, she could be going home.
So we know how that works. When she go home,
then he go home too, because they got the connection.
And he ain't making no other connections.
But you could also see it like this. Even though we not feeling her, they might err on the side to keep her because they looking out for you, bruh. I know you feeling shaky, bro. Yeah. So. But anyway, so we see Walter take Courtney out on a date, and then we see Camille and Dante. When Dante takes Camille,
man, you could have look. I'm one of the people. I'm gonna be honest. I thought she would go home. We're gonna skip the chase. I know we got. Look, I thought she was going home.
Camille.
I thought Camille would go home. I like they gonna save Courtney. Maybe another day she get it right. I thought Camille. Yeah, I know the title is y'all mad. I ain't go home. Yeah, I'm mad. You ain't go home, dude.
I'm not mad, but I was very surprised, and that's why I said I think it might have really boiled down to the fact that the bros was like, "Bruh, I know you feeling her, and you want some more time."
Because even the way she treated my man Dante at the date was rude.
Oh yeah, she was like, my expectations of this date are very low. I'm not interested in the date, not interested in him. I'm not feeling him, and I just want to move on.
But we could have did a Zoom.
It was awkward. She said, look, I got a class at 7, so make it snappy, Pappy. I was like, ooh.
If we had not...
She snapped him like, hurry it along.
Look, I wish he had veto power to be able to send both of them home, because he should have been like, you're going home too.
Based on this right here.
Yeah, because I wish he had some power to be like, yo, you go home. Because the way she treated him was totally uncalled for. And for what we saw, it could have been much more to the date. I'm only going off, and only going off what I saw. She might be a nice lady. She might watch this review. We might even interview her later if she accepts the invitation. But what we saw here was rude.
It was, and even when he was asking her questions, he was like, "Why are you so quiet? That's not the typical Camille." Yeah. And you know, he said, "I feel like she knows she's on the chopping block." Yeah, she knows, almost like Corey.
Yeah,
you know, they knew it was coming, and you know, they talk about how's the process been for you. You know, she's you know, dating 10 guys. She said, "I haven't dated 10 guys though. I know what I want." And so that's why I'm going after, and you know, I'm trying to make connections, a connection for the future.
Yeah.
Not just for this show. Like, I'm really, you know, look, to be honest. And so, you know, Dante is like, you know, the guys feel like you haven't taken the time to get to know a whole lot of guys. You know, and she was like, I'm not trying to waste my time. I'm not trying to waste theirs. I know what I want, and so that's what I'm gonna try to do. And so he says, well, you know, I wanted to let you know that you're not ready to go home yet. And she said, I was about to say. I was about to say.
I was about to effing say. That's what she said.
No, she said I was about to say F you.
Yeah, F you, yeah.
Yeah.
Look, she should have went home.
So, of course, you know what that means. That means Courtney went home. And, you know, Walter... had to, like, you know, put it on her. It's like, you know, several guys feel like you're not giving it the effort, you know, the real effort.
Yeah.
You're giving off homie vibes. Yeah.
Cornelius wasn't in a corner, and guess what? It's kind of like I said earlier about if Camille gets eliminated, Cornelius. What was saving Courtney was Corey. If Corey doesn't go home last week, and they only send Tyrone home, Courtney may not be in the bottom.
Right.
Courtney may still be here on the show. So even on this, you have to be careful who you send home, because guess what, dude? You might be even putting a dagger in your own chances.
That's true.
Of finding love.
We've seen that before.
And so what she did was, when Corey left, there's nobody else to vouch for, and she turned Cornelius off. And it's like, okay, sorry, you know, this is not what I'm feeling. And Walter even said it. You didn't even give me a chance because you and Camille was there when we all went out on a date.
Right.
You ignored me and were just focusing on Cornelius. So I didn't feel like
she was like, we was all on a date. He was like, but no, the two of y'all was all about him.
And like, why am I even here?
Right.
So now you want to film me? Nah, you gotta go home.
Yeah, and she said, you know, I don't feel like I wasn't ready to love. I wish they had given me a shot or whatever, but it is what it is.
Y'all, please leave a comment in the comment section. Are y'all mad that Camille didn't go home?
Like I told you, I'm not mad. I'm not mad. But I really do think that this was a spot where it could have been like they sent two guys home. They could have sent two women home. But I'm not mad.
I'm not.
Because I want to see Cornelius with somebody.
I do too.
But I do.
I don't want to see him with
have
her.
some red flags.
She has so many red flags that if he don't stop and recognize the red flags, and we haven't done the video on it, but she's possessive. She's controlling about the money. Even though she apologized to him, you did it. You called the man you country bunking.
Yeah.
You insulted him. You called him a fool.
Basically.
And he still keep going back. You're a fool because you keep going back. Because if it was vice versa, if it was a woman, this guy had said this to a woman, right? Would people be in an uproar?
Right.
Like she better not go with him. But again, he as a man, he can't take that from her.
Right.
And I'm not saying in a bad way, like do something, but you can't be in a relationship where she calling you names and downgrading you and talking about being clingy. Again, this is a relationship show. You're supposed to date other people.
Right.
This man can't even feel comfortable talking to Courtney when they're on a group date.
Right.
He gotta keep his eyes forward. You know what I'm saying? Come on, man. You're a grown man, dog. She has red flags. I'm sorry.
Yeah, so.
And I'm not saying she's not a beautiful woman. Not even saying she's not a smart woman. But in the relationship, there's some red flags.
Yeah, she definitely needs some teaching. She needs some advice. Hopefully Miss Jackie, Tommy's wife, will come on and, you know, be able to talk to her and say, like, maybe you should lay off the asking a man if he makes six figures.
Should lay off calling a man names.
That too.
Should lay off being possessive.
That too, but I'm just saying.
Oh, okay. Hey, let us know what you think. Leave a comment in the comment section below. Make sure you hit the subscribe button. Make sure you hit the bell notification so you don't miss any of our reviews. Also, check out our Married at First Sight reviews as well, along with matrimony thoughts. Hey, ready to love. Just kicking up. We halfway there. Halfway done.
Halfway.
So we'll catch you guys down the road.